Hi, folks, and welcome to Film Optimist, where we talk about all things film with a healthy dose of optimism. I'm your co-host, Seth Boyd.
I am Megan Tierney.
Folks, we want to do something a little different this episode. We've never done this before, and if you like it, let us know. We might do more of these. We usually talk about one movie, or at the end of the years, we've talked about our favorite movies we saw. We're doing the inverse. We're going to talk about the movies coming out this year that we have not seen yet that we're most excited about.
Mm-hmm. So, folks, we've planned on maybe a shorter episode here today, but we're just going to kind of shoot the breeze the way that Seth and I would normally do anyway about movies. So I'm really excited for this episode to kind of, catch up with my friend about the state of the movies, we were calling it. And Seth, I'm happy to go first if you're
Please do.
Down for that, because this was actually very recent addition to my list that I just saw. After recently going to the movies, a trailer at the movies of Taika Waititi's next film, which is going to come out in November, and this is his, from what I know, first soiree into a sports film, and this it's called Next Goal Wins, about a ragtag American Samoa football or soccer team that gets a new coach and explores I'm sure themes of being American Samoa tribe, but also just being a underdog soccer team. So really excited. Trailer looked great. Trailer looked very indicative of what we have now are now coming to expect from a Taika Waititi film. Very funny, but also with that homage and twist to indigenous cultures. And this one is about American Samoa, which is really, really exciting. I was happy to see it and excited to see it. It'll come out in November, I believe. So had you heard about it, Seth? I hadn't heard about it yet, really.
I'm so excited to hear that there's a trailer out for this, because I've actually been following this movie for a while. And that's another thing we want to kind of do this episode, folks, is talk about how we hear about movies. And just being a Taika Waititi fan, he's a person like many other directors that I'll occasionally just look up, or I use the news app on my phone, and he's one of the people I follow. So I'm glad this movie is being released, because I could be wrong, but I think it's something that got delayed a couple times by him being hired by Marvel or by Disney to do a Star Wars thing. And it's that's all very exciting, but let him make his own movies. So I've heard just the kind of base premise of movie about a terrible soccer/football team, which I'm always on board for. A sports comedy is I think a pretty specific thing, and there's a handful of great ones, and I'm not that big of a sports fan, but I'm excited to see what Taika Waititi does to it. And I think it's interesting timing with Ted Lasso being over. I think there's probably going to be a lot of people who are excited for another uplifting soccer thing.
There you go.
So I'm not sure if that was part of the plan or if that's going to work out that way, but I'm hoping he kind of gets more viewers from that for this one.
Yeah, definitely. It's quite a thing kind of to have this kind of movie, like a underdog, some kind of sports. It's kind of getting actually pretty popular. There's a some guys from the It's Always Sunny crew have a TV show about a soccer league that they purchased and kind of helped bring up. I forget the name of it, but it just came to mind kind of now as we're talking about it. But
Rob McElhenney, I think, bought a soccer team with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. I think that one got bought up by Disney, but anyway, these tend to have that uplifting humanistic story, and even in the trailer you can really tell that that they are an American Samoa team is going to be a big part of this project. So really excited to see that. Taika has such a in relation to some other directors that I will probably talk about, I think Taika has such a specific voice that I'm now looking forward to see in his movies, kind of regardless of what it is, but especially when it is this is definitely independent from a big conglomerate like Disney or Marvel or something like that. So really excited to see that.
Yeah, and it is so exciting too to see him bounce back, much like with Jojo Rabbit was right after Thor. This is what he's following up Thor 2 with, or Thor 5, I guess. His
I know.
other big budget Marvel movie, the next thing he's doing is an indie thing, because that's not always the way it happens. Sometimes it's kind of hard to get out from making those big box office, very well paying movies, and we kind of lose what could have been a great career. I'm happy to see that that's not what Taika is doing. They're still definitely maintaining their individuality in their indie movies. Well, that ties into my third movie on the note of independence. My number 3, I'm doing a countdown kind of in order.
Same.
With number 1 being what I'm most excited to. So this is a movie called Past Lives. Have you heard of this one, Megan?
Oh, actually, okay. The name sounds familiar, but I don't know much about it.
Okay. So it'll be the directorial debut of Celine Song, a Korean-Canadian, who's a playwright who's written a couple of plays, and this is her directorial debut. It's dealing with immigration. It's dealing with, it's a romantic movie with two people who were very close friends, maybe even, would have been lovers, boy childhood neighbors, is my understanding, who drift away when one comes to North America and the other stays in Korea. And now decades later, as an adult, the woman is married and the man is visiting, and they haven't seen each other for a long time. And her husband's like, well, you should go see your friend, of course, he's in town. And there's kind of dealing with those very intense emotions of seeing someone who you probably would have spent your life with if things had gone differently. And I'm in general not the one to just see every romantic movie, but I saw this trailer in the theater and it just looked so beautiful. Like the cinematography looked so beautiful. It looked like it's going to be a fun, slow, small movie. And I really crave those more and more recently. I don't remember when I saw this trailer. I think I saw it at a independent theater. I don't know what I was seeing, but I just remember the previous time I had been to a movie, all the trailers were for studio movies that looked terrible. They're for like the Will Ferrell's A Talking Dog and all these other looked like pretty dumb movies that did not interest me at all. And this was just, as a trailer, such a breath of fresh air of just like this slow-paced human story. And very excited to see it. Hope I can still catch it in theaters. I know it's already kind of coming towards the end of its run, but if I have to watch it at home, I will. But excited about this being the first in hopefully a long career of a new filmmaker.
Good. So this one's out now, like currently.
It's out now. Yeah.
Oh, that's so exciting. Yeah, I'm excited too to see. I feel like I've seen a little more either authors or what have you, playwrights that it's their first thing coming out, and that is and women authors and playwrights, which is like that's really exciting. So beautiful.
It is, and there's a pretty long history of playwrights switching to movies. And being able to maintain that quality. Like Martin McDonagh's the most probably recent big hitter for that, like Banshees of Inisherin and in Bruges. So it's like this has been done before with people really being able to adapt the visual, the written prose and everything, and just doing something great with it. So I'm excited to see it and very hopeful. And I know nothing about it beyond just the trailer and limited information. So
cool. Yeah. It's cool to see it like the trailer in theaters too, I'm sure, because for me that's like if I see indie trailers, it's probably I'm seeking them out on my own almost. So
yes, absolutely.
To be able to see it in theaters is a nice experience, I'm sure, for you.
I was going to ask you about that. I mean, I think this has kind of tentatively come up before, but like, are you want to just sit and watch trailers?
Oh my God,
like at home?
The YouTube wormhole is very real with trailers.
Yeah.
And I seek it out. Like I will, especially maybe at like the beginning of the year or even award season or whatever, what have you. I will, and I do it because I find it really exciting. Like it kind of helps me pick an agenda almost, or like create my agenda of what I'm most excited to see, especially if it's like really, if it's a longer release or something that is coming out kind of later. But I think I tend to do the same now. I'm doing it more like I'll seek out directors and just see what's coming up.
Sure.
But beginning of the year or directors, if someone's coming out that I know that they're doing, I want to see like kind of what's up.
Right. No, absolutely. I mean, like I'm usually looking for any kind of trusted film source for me. Like I haven't read them as such recently, but Peter Travers is a film critic. I was usually pretty happy whenever they had like an upcoming film list, or like Empire Magazine, Sight and Sound, something
Yeah,
like that. And a lot of it for me is following the major festivals, like Cannes Film Festival,
that's good.
especially, where so many
Yeah,
movies make their debut. But yeah, I don't watch trailers as much as I used to as a high school
yeah,
guy. I'd just be like going on, I think it was Yahoo Movies, and you just every trailer for every movie that was out recently was there, and just do
that's
that for
true.
hours.
Well, on kind of a similar note, I also watch I got in the habit of watching a lot of like film critics and like film
Sure. Yeah.
YouTubers, I guess, talk about the movies, but I'm really trying to like watch it before to foster my own opinion about these things, because
Sure.
I find myself getting really swayed, honestly. But
Yeah.
I love commentary stuff like that too. Why this is so fun for me, obviously.
Right.
But just that we're having fun doing it. But yeah, so that's like another side of it too, that
Sure.
that I feel like is a part of my movie going experience for like what's coming up kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes I will just watch a video of a thing I'm on the fence about, like a
Yeah.
review or something, and like
Yeah.
make my decision based off that.
True. Well, I could go into my next pick, which will
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go. So my last two are kind of like a toss-up sort of thing, but I think I'm gonna go
Okay.
with it because it's very opposite of like this this movie that everybody's been hearing about, and it's Greta Gerwig's Barbie movie is coming out, folks.
Absolutely.
I'm excited personally. So I'm excited for Greta's take on it. Obviously, I think it's going to be interesting. And then also talking about trailers again, her trailer for the movie made it pretty exciting, like even more exciting for me actually, because I think that there is, and especially as more trailers actually came out, she had a few of them come out. And you're just seeing, I've seen them everywhere now, which is a little nauseating at this point. But and we can talk about like the commodification of it also a little bit, but
sure.
Just in terms of the pure like trailer of what this thing kind of feels like, I feel like it feels very tongue-in-cheek kind of, which I really hope it becomes that. I think that that's how, like, that's the route to go for this kind of movie. And it feels funny, like there was funny elements into it, which I hope reigns true. Like I didn't get a cringiness aspect from it, which I'm like, that's kind of the goal, is like I just hope it doesn't get into that realm. But so far for me, so good. Like I don't see it. I think it is very tongue-in-cheek, which I'm really excited to see. And it's just so campy, which is a departure of one for Greta, of course, but then also for like just film in general kind of right now. And I think that's kind of what people are really latching onto. Like this thing is getting a lot of buzz for various reasons and stuff like that. But if it does well, I think those are the things that are going to kind of rise to the top of why it's good and exciting and stuff like that.
No, I fully agree with you. I'm very excited for this movie. It's definitely a movie I'm going to see. It is going to be an honorable mention for me. I was pretty sure you were going to say this, so I didn't have it on my list.
Okay,
but it's definitely a movie I'm going to be seeing.
Yeah,
and I think you're right. It's exciting as much as it's kind of confusing. And it's ultimately a toy company that's behind this. It is fun to see Greta Gerwig, much like it was fun to see Taika Waititi be given a big stack of cash. Like, what do you do? When you have these literal toys to play with, when it comes to not just a very bright, lively world, but, the effects and stuff you can do with a bigger budget than she's had for her first two movies. Totally. And I'm very excited. This is it's a very campy trailers we've had so far. Yeah. But do you remember the first teaser trailer? That was like,
I do.
It was, because this was filled with Kubrick references. It was like the beginning was Space Odyssey with the little girls, and then she comes out like the monolith as this new exciting doll. And it's riddled with, some relatively for film highbrow,
Yeah.
references. I'm kind of curious to see if that's going to maintain through the whole movie of references to more prestigious, renowned
Yes.
films with also being camp. That's what
Yeah.
I'm hoping. But if nothing else, if this just introduces campy movies and the taste for it to the mainstream
Yeah.
audience, I'm very happy with that because camp is just fun.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I agree. Like, I think the humor is so specific that I saw in the
mhm.
trailer, and I mean, it threw me back to Lady Bird, which we have an episode about, folks, if you want to
Yes,
hear our
check it
take
out.
on that. To hear us talk about basically that half of that is talking about Greta Gerwig and like our
Right.
kind of take on her. But she just does, to me, like this in Lady Bird, it was more like subtle humor or very
Yeah.
relational humor, I get, or
Mhm.
relatable. I meant to say humor. And I don't know how, like, I'm not sure if Barbie's humor is going to be relatable or subtle so
Right.
much, but I think that from what I get from the trailer, it's very, just again, that like tongue-in-cheek aspect, which I think that she'll be able to conquer really well. Like, I'm
Yeah.
excited for it. So she's that similar, she reminded me also of Taika Waititi. Like, she's kind of now that filmic and directorial voice that I will seek out and be curious to watch, kind of whatever she's down to produce. So of
Absolutely.
course I'm going to be on this boat.
Right. And it's also it is curious that to my knowledge she's not in this. So this will be her third movie as a director.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's not starring, which again we mentioned because she was very successful as an actor before transitioning
Yes.
to directing. So I think that's a good call. I would love to see her in
Oh
her
yeah.
movies because I like seeing her on screen as well. But it is kind of hard when you're watching like the most obvious being like Orson Welles to not feel like this is all about one person. This
Yeah.
is the one star show, and that can get a little
Yeah.
tedious, and I think gets people tired of that person, and I don't want to get tired of Greta Gerwig culturally if it
Yeah.
wants to be. I am a little concerned though. Did you see Mattel announce that they're going to do something like 45 other movies based off their toys?
Oh God.
So
I did
that's
not.
crazy. Did not foresee this being like the competition for Marvel being actual straight up toy companies. It
Jeez.
makes sense. If
Oh
you,
man.
I mean, both will be movies primarily to sell toys, but
That's true. Well,
so I'm a little worried about that getting out of hand. But I'm very excited for this movie.
fair. My other criticism too, to talk about like the consumerism aspect of this
Mm,
movie. I mean,
sure.
it's not. I don't really think it's its fault. Like, really, I think they must have had a really huge marketing budget, because again, I've
Sure.
seen like specifically the trailer for this everywhere. I think like
Right.
everybody else has, but the like Barbie merchandise that has come out in, but every
Mm,
single brand, like so many brands, is kind of like rough to see. Obviously,
yeah.
it's a nasty byproduct that I feel like is just so a part of American culture and kind of like filmic culture too, and just like film going
Right.
culture almost, because
Right.
every Cinemark has the popcorn bucket that you like have to get, and it's becoming very like almost amusement park-y, where
Yeah.
I mean, that's just hard to justify. It's not the best part of the excitement of this movie for me. It's like, it's the downside, to be honest. But
Very
you
true.
know, I think it's for some people, it's not for me, and that could be fine too. But the consumerism really eats away at me, I guess.
Yeah, no, well said.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
my number two in this is the second part of what I'm sure will be many people's double feature of the Barbie Oppenheimer
Okay,
um,
cool.
night, which I'm generally planning to do. I hope you do as well, Megan. I'm going to hopefully see these movies back to back. But yeah, Oppenheimer is my number two
Beautiful.
pick,
Cool.
and yeah, it's kind of hard thinking about like how I heard of this movie. It's kind of hard to think of me not hearing about a Nolan movie.
Yeah.
Just I'm very active on like film Twitter and reading film stuff in general. Or a director I follow. And I'll be honest, I'm not too excited about the fact that this is an Oppenheimer movie. It's not
Hmm.
finally we're telling this story. It
Yeah.
is very exciting to me that this is, I think we talked about this in our Memento episode. This is a smaller budget than they've used in quite a while. It's still something like $100 million, but it's smaller than their last several movies. And the other actors are excited. I mean, very excited that Cillian Murphy is getting a lead role in a movie. I think it's well deserved. He's great, and in general, they've been a great character actor and great supporting man for quite a while. But it's been a long time, I think, since they've had a leading man role in a movie.
I think so.
But yeah, when they, in the early odds, like from like 2005, 2010, they are often getting some leading man roles in some smaller movies. So excited to have that now in a bigger budget thing, but also to see Robert Downey Jr. is going to be in this, and this will be one of his first non-Iron Man roles. And I will be honest, when Iron Man first came out, I thought this is great. Robert Downey Jr. is fantastic, but the last couple of years, it was very kind of grating to me. He's literally just been playing that one character almost exclusively for nearly 20 years. So I'm a little worried. It's like, does he remember how to act? When you're not just playing the one person. But very excited to see him play not Iron Man, and I hope there is a real freshness to it, because I think he's a very talented person. And Matt Damon's going to be in here as well. I always like seeing him in things that aren't just the action roles. So very, very excited for everyone who's involved in this movie. And I think the visuals are going to be insane. So I'm excited to see these practical effects in the theater.
So this is my number one. This is what I
kind really? Okay.
I held it off because I assumed that this was going to be on your list. We and Seth and I kind of talked about it like off the air, is that how we would say it?
Off the air,
yeah. off the recording, I guess. Seth and I had been talking about this movie. And for me, this has become into like my love of trailers, but for me, this trailer was so I saw this trailer first. I think in theaters. I'm pretty sure it may have been one that I sought out like early on of like what's coming out, but specifically, I want to tout the trailer for this movie and having seen it in theaters, because it was incredible. It's just a masterclass in, like, for me, how to really, sell you on a movie without giving too much away. I love people get really pissed off if the trailer like shows everything. I hate that too. I think it's really dumb. What a stupid way to advertise your movie, but it feels very this one feels atmospheric. It has like a ticking sound to signify bombs. It has like really crazy like audio editing going on, like artistic audio editing going on in this thing. And I remember being in the theater and being like, it made me excited, the trailer specifically, and it made me excited specifically to watch it in theaters, which is what better, I think that's the goal of a trailer if you have it in a theater. So that was really exciting, and I was like, this has to be one that we watch in theaters. Like, I don't want to see it any other way, kind of. So in that regard, it was really exciting too. It kind of felt like maybe like what I was craving too from theater films or theater movies, instead of seeing a big budget, something else trailer or studio trailer. The way that you mentioned, Seth, this kind of felt like what movies felt like a while ago, especially movie theater movies too. So that's why I got like super excited about it, and for, of course, the same reasons you said. The cast was exciting to see as well, a lot.
Yeah, very excited for this one. This is probably, by the time this episode's out, making you know, hopefully have seen these last couple of movies.
Yes.
I'm also intrigued and about like, this is, in recent history at least, probably the best known case of man tempering with things beyond their comprehension, and maybe we shouldn't have done it. And there's obviously a lot of that going on in the world today with billionaires spending a lot of money on science that shouldn't work. And sometimes that's very complicated. It's taking down a lot of people. And sometimes it's just that shitty Titan submersible that killed 5 people and was really stupid. So true. I'm kind of hoping that there's a little bit of a cultural recognition of that on a grander scale, considering so many of the billionaires being worshipped are noted for worshipped for their scientific advancements that aren't actually
That's
that great.
interesting. How do you
So
can I ask, how do you feel about that, like for period pieces or historical pieces? Do you kind of like seek out the modern day equivalent,
yeah,
or that's a
yeah,
good
I
way to
think there
put
is
it?
always a little bit of like, why are we talking about this time period now? Because obviously, history repeats itself, and sometimes it's a good story, and it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
But no one, I think, is a smarter person who is thinking about things like that. Who is,
Yeah.
and I think maybe they don't necessarily get enough credit for that. But like a lot of people have pointed out, like The Dark Knight Rises,
Mm-hmm.
kind of deals with the Patriot Act. With you have
Mm.
Batman, has that surveillance everywhere around the
Ah,
time where that was actually really, starting to become a thing.
yes.
And it
Right.
deals with that moral question of, is that actually good? you know,
Right.
and
Right.
it
Right. Right.
ultimately ends with the machine being destroyed. So
Yeah.
it's not continued. So I think he's, there's so much interesting visuals, and sometimes not just interesting visuals, but like the superheroes, especially for three movies, are like the spectacle that what he's saying can maybe get lost. But I would think he's really saying something with this
Mm-hmm.
movie coming out now. So
Oh, yeah, that it was interesting the way you said it too. Like I like that it's maybe like thematic
sure.
callbacks or whatever or what have you, like because I've seen a lot of more throwaway films where the antagonist is like a straight up racist and like that's kind of their
Right.
whole thing, and it's like it feels a little like, well, it feels a little obvious or just like not, I don't know, just
Yeah.
kind of lazy, kind of lazy. So to have
Yeah, like
those
you don't really get
themes,
points for the rhetoric of the bad guys clearly racist.
right?
And
I mean, yeah, it
yeah,
was. That's what I was noticing in a couple of just like other throwaway films that I've seen this year.
sure.
It's just like that seems very reductive, or I don't know. It just
Hmm.
that's funny. So I'd much prefer a theme, like a thematic of, this is where we are now. Let's draw things to where we were in our past, and let's learn from that. Like that's a
Right.
little bit more of a feat that I would admire, I guess, in
Right.
filmmaking.
Well, I mean, here's hoping that's the way it plays out. Obviously, we haven't seen it yet, but that is my
Yeah,
expectation for part of the intent and part of the statement of the
nice,
movie. But we'll see.
beautiful. Oh, briefly, sorry to derail this
Of
too.
course.
I figured we'd have some crossover here, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
have you seen the I think a good, I don't know if it's good or bad, but like I die over Barbie versus Oppenheimer, like
Yes.
meme culture, which is
Hmm.
really prevalent and strong, such a strong
Hmm.
meme culture. But I saw one where it's like people in the Barbie movie and it's someone praying. I don't know where it's from a movie, I think, and then an explosion
Right.
goes off through the window. And they said like people enjoying the Barbie movie while Oppenheimer's playing in the theater next
Oh,
door,
right.
and that just
Yeah.
makes me so happy. That is my that's the best thing I've ever seen so far this
Right.
year. Again, I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like our culture just like takes everything and kind of like
Right.
chews it to bits. But this I will
This I'm
like
all about.
yeah, I will die on the sword for, or whatever the phrase is. Like I love
Yeah.
it.
No, I'm really with you there because it's like it's I'm on Tumblr fairly often, and someone recently made a post that's probably like a year ago now. That's like, oh, I didn't realize people were making all these posts about Breaking Bad because it's a good show. I thought we
Oh,
were making fun of it because like that's so often what it is. It's so
yeah.
often people are making memes of like, well, there's the case of whatever the Jared Leto Marvel vampire thing that bombed was. You remember
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah, yeah.
talking about?
Yes,
We don't even say the name of
Morbius.
it. Morbius, thank you. So
Yes.
that movie came back into theaters because there were so many memes about it that the studios thought, oh, I guess people like the movie. No, the memes were all about how it's a bad movie. So
Right.
often a movie that gets very memeified, and it is trending in that way is kind of a joke about it being, silly to some degree, not exclusively. So
Yeah.
this is kind of nice that there's something that is this mainstream as a meme that even if you don't really follow like a film memes account or something, you're seeing these crossover between two movies
Yep.
you might not have known existed a few weeks ago, but you definitely know both of them exist now. And they're
Mm-hmm.
movies that
That's true.
everyone's actually excited to see. Like these are anticipated to be good films. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like
that's nice.
innocent, more innocent almost, or something, I
It
guess.
is, yeah. My favorite meme in this is that David Lynch has already made both these movies, because there's this episode of Twin Peaks Return that deals with the nuclear testing, and there's some of his imagery, particularly in Wild at Heart, where you have Gilda, the good witch from Wizard of Oz, shows up in an all pink crazy gown. So it's those images side to side. And like, we don't need these movies. He already made them. So.
Beautiful. Yeah. Well, mine are that and it's a CG joke, so of course I love that, but it's like the practical effects of Oppenheimer, and it's like of course Christopher Nolan wanted the real thing, and it'll show the cameraman, and it's like a skeleton because he was blown up by the bomb.
Yep. That's great.
It's just good stuff. It's good stuff.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah, I'm seeing like the human spirit come back, if you will, in as like stupid as it is. I love it. I'm all about it.
Well, we're having fun. So my top pick is Killers of the Flower Moon, the upcoming Martin Scorsese movie. You've heard about this one, Megan?
I've heard about this one, yes.
Okay. So big Scorsese fan. We're probably going to have to do him on the podcast soon. Ooh, you know, someone who's been directing since the early 70s, has quite a few movies under their belt. And I'm very excited for their latest movie. It had a lot of delays that I think made people think, oh, you know, this is going to be a clunker. And the previous movie he did was The Irishman, which I quite liked, but there's some very valid criticism about the de-aging CGI was not as good as it should be and was very expensive. And I think that's frankly true. But I got over it. You know, it's a compelling enough story told well enough that has a lot to say unexpectedly too about a soldier's place in America post-war and how that tied in very quickly to working for the mob. So it has a lot to say about the culture and people in general. So I love that movie, but I do understand the concern that came out, and that made a lot of people kind of worried when there's notes of delays with this movie, because they kind of stopped halfway and changed some parts around. But what's come out more recently is they realized, and by they, to this credit, Leonardo DiCaprio was the one who mentioned and ultimately convinced Scorsese, we need to just tell this movie more from the side of the Native American tribe, the Osage people. So if folks who don't know, this is based off a true story of one of the first cases the FBI investigated back in the 20s, I believe, of indigenous folk in Oklahoma find oil on their land, become very, very wealthy overnight, and seems the white town folks start to murder them. So they consulted with local natives. A lot of, I believe the entire indigenous cast is played by people of the actual tribe depicted. It's something that chieftains and other people who are high members of this tribe have said, this is a great movie. This is kind of has our stamp of approval. This is telling our story the way that should be told, and we're really excited for people to say this. So I love that Martin Scorsese in his 80s, I believe, has been making movies for so long. Hey, just know we're going to eat some of that money, and we're going to reshoot this because we're going to do it right, and we're going to do it right to tell the indigenous story about the genocide, one of many. So I think it's very powerful, and I'm really excited for that movie to come out. Obviously, the trailer's gorgeous. You have DiCaprio doing a very strange, strong accent, but I mean, 9 out of 10 times when people say, what is this accent? It's usually something that is actually regionally specific. It's actually well researched. Sometimes it's Tom Hardy knowing he needs to be really camping when he plays Bane, and that works great for me. But a very odd criticism I've heard is that Heath Ledger's accent is bad in Brokeback Mountain. But from many folks I've met from Wyoming, it's like, no, that's what people in Wyoming talk like. That's what the cowboys sound like. This is accurate.
Leo DiCaprio, I feel like he's one of those actors that would be like, no, like researching it meticulously. Not that, like I think he'd be very kind of meticulous about that, if you will. So that's.
I agree. I think he's known for doing. I think rather he should be more known for doing accents, because like he does a great South African accent in Blood Diamond, which is a very difficult accent to pull off. And I think he is one of those people who's kind of so famous for being a playboy. Is often with models that people forget he's a great actor.
True. Yeah.
Which is, I'm not saying his lifestyle is to be endorsed, but he is a good actor. And looking forward to seeing him. And also, this is very exciting for Scorsese fans. It's the first time him and De Niro will be in the same Martin Scorsese movie, two of his long-standing leading man.
Yeah.
So a lot of things kind of coming to fruition here. It's going to be over 3 hours. I will see it in theaters. I'm very excited.
Nice. I love it. I love we're getting these indigenous stories, like finally. That's kind of a hole, I guess, that I've been feeling a lot in cinema. That like I said, like I kind of praise Taika Waititi for bringing that, but there's so not just him, like there's just so many other voices out there that that's exciting to see, and it's starting to come up more, which I'm only excited to see it. You know, that's all good things.
Fully agree. And a great movie that came out maybe 15 years ago is called Rhymes from Young Ghouls. This is a native Canadian movie, and just Canadian people behind it, and about many things, including, you know, the I'm thinking the residence houses, you know, the kind of converting them into a good Canadian, and that all the horrors that involved with that. So which is, I think, is obviously we know even less about is American citizens. It's like, but it's kind of hard to remember. I think this is also happening just north of us, you know, like no one's free here. So of course terrible things happened in Mexico with the natives, but so I'm with you. I'm very glad to see these stories being told, and I think it's very powerful that it's not just a white person telling a story, it's a white person really doing the research and getting literally a stamp of approval, you know, and telling the story. And it's a powerful person, which means more people are going to see the movie. You know, it's someone who's won an Oscar, it's someone who's been one of the most acclaimed directors for the past 40 years. So
I mean, it's like that's necessary, and it's kind of like it's time, you know. Good on him, but also sad that it's taken this long, sort of thing. But
very true.
But hey, here we are, and I want Hollywood, or you know, maybe this isn't Hollywood necessarily, but it's it's that stepping stone to being more mainstream, like you say. So I'm all about that.
Yeah, and it's very just exciting to see somebody who's so established as Scorsese. That's what they're doing now. Not to knock other directors, but you know, it's not James Cameron making Avatar 3, which is probably going to be a fun movie. I don't know if I'm going to see it, but you know, it's it's something more important.
Avatar 2 was very long.
Did you see it?
I did, and we saw it in theaters.
What do you think? Oh wow.
You know, it's one of those things too, like I guess there have been things that I'm kind of excited about, and they haven't quite hit as like hard, maybe maybe even like all in this post-pandemic time sort of thing. So that's why like these are ones that I'm kind of like keeping an eye on, to be like, okay, like I think it'll feel like that feeling in the theater that I've been kind of craving for a while. So and it was good, you know, it fun to watch, all that kind of thing, but it may just be a difference in like how I'm consuming movies and how like the general public's consuming. I'm not sure about that either, but yeah, it's just kind of a I feel like I'm in a time of refresh right now, which is like exciting. It's a more exciting period coming up, sort of thing.
I feel you. Absolutely. We've done our 3. Do you have any like honorable mentions that didn't quite make the cut you want to mention, or?
I thought I had one, but I think I moved it onto my list, which was Taika's Next Goal Wins. Perfect. Yeah.
Not to knock any other movies coming out, but I'm excited for Dune 2. Dune Part 2. And, you know, some of the other ones that I would mention, I'm either like had just seen or I'm about to see. And so I'll save that for our end of the year episode. Cool.
Sure.
All right, folks. Well, there's our list. What are yours? What are you most excited? Write in, comment on whatever platform you heard about this, Twitter, Instagram, those are the main 2, or leave us a comment on iTunes with a 5-star review, of course, and let us know. Great.
Yeah, folks, you can always also find us. We're touting now our website, which is a very simple filmoptimists.com. You'll find our list of of course, the full directory list, but also our recommendations and also all of our social media links. So we like to direct you there to get to wherever you best listen to podcasts, best interact with this podcast, which this one I feel like is going to be really collaborative. I do want to hear what people's takes are. That's like what I seek out a lot of times too in my seeking reviews or something like that. So let's make this one collaborative. I'd love to hear what people have to say.
Absolutely. Write in, as always, folks. We do take your recommendations. It's happened before. If there's a movie you want us to talk about, if you a movie you think we're wrong about, we've done that before too. Let us know.
Yes.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we're shifting gears. We're taking it all.
Yeah, exactly.
But always optimistic, of course.
Yeah, always optimistic. Absolutely.
All right, folks. Take care.
Take care.